First year, I would put the big ones right there. Sorry. Are you there?
How you doing?
Being 6 o'clock, I'll call the Marathon County Board of Supervisors to order, please. Please rise and recite with me the Pledge of Allegiance. Following the Pledge of Allegiance, please remain standing for a silent moment of reflection. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll have the reading of the notice, please.
The adjourned organizational meeting of the Marathon County Board of Supervisors, composed of 38 members, will convene at the Marathon County Courthouse Assembly Room, 500 Forest Street, Wausau, on Tuesday, April 23rd at 6 p.m., and the agenda was duly signed and posted.
Thank you. And I would like to request everyone, please silence your cell phones and any other electronic devices as to not to be an interruption to the meeting, and I thank you for your compliance. And we'll proceed to roll call, and I'd ask everyone, please sign in. I'd like to welcome all of the visitors that we have with us, including the viewing audience, and thank you for your interest in county government. And thank you for, again, all of you for your willingness to serve. Before we get started, I have a brief statement I'd like to make. I want to thank staff for their assistance in getting the committee appointments out to all the supervisors. It is my pleasure to offer the appointments before you, and I want to give thanks to Vice Chair Dickinson for his assistance in developing them. Please know that the nominations offered are a result of significant discussion with Vice Chair Dickinson and considerable reflection. Leadership is the responsibility of all supervisors as elected officials. It is worth repeating the words of the Wisconsin Counties Association Executive Director, Mark O'Connell, that great supervisors are visionaries. This is especially true this term as we will be working on updating the comprehensive plan and the strategic plan. We must constantly remind ourselves that we set policy and leave it up to staff to execute operations and deliver the programs that move us even closer to that future vision. One of the greatest assets that are the over 700 employees and the professional staff that lead our 25 different departments. They are the ones that we rely on to deliver the numerous programs that this county operates. I must say that in over 18 years of service on this board, our staff has done an outstanding job on delivering on those policies that we set. Building understanding of the work of the county, the work the county performs requires time. I continue to learn more about this organization every single day. In offering these committee appointments, I was guided by multiple goals that the Vice Chair Dickinson and I agreed on prior to placing any names on any committees. Some of those goals are: 1, increasing the spectrum of perspective and experience and representation on each of the committees and in the chair and vice chair positions. Ensuring there is the ability for supervisors to grow and develop as leaders on this board and have access to educational resources to further understand county government services that staff deliver. This is important when we consider that over 55% of this board is in their first or second term. Also important was supervisors' preferences and areas of interest. While there will be some supervisors that would have preferred different appointments, the overwhelming majority received their first or second choice. All supervisors have been assigned to one standing committee at minimum per our board rules, and at least one additional committee, board, or commission or task force. As we move forward, I'm asking that we dedicate ourselves to leading in policy development. Committee chairs, I'm asking you to work closely and mentor the vice chairs on all the responsibility the chair has. One potential growth opportunity that was offered by Vice Chair Dickinson was allowing the vice chairs to run a meeting while you're in attendance to assist as needed, provided there is no objection from the committee. Vice chairs, one of the responsibilities is to shepherd the strategic plan in your committee. That is going to be especially important this year as we update both the comprehensive and strategic plans. You're also encouraged to attend and participate in the executive committee meetings. As always, the vice chair and I look forward to working closely with all of you, and we greatly appreciate your continued diligence in preparation for and active participation in our work with the individual committees and the full board, and your engagement with your constituents. Thank you. We will now move on to the committee assignments, items B7A through B7N, and we have the ability to make motions and seconds on the screen. Motion by Supervisor Zhang and seconded by Supervisor Covelli. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. And we'll proceed. Oops, okay, now we can. And the motion is carried and is unanimous. Thank you. Moving on to item B8A through B8K. What is your pleasure? Motion by Supervisor Robinson and second by Supervisor Zhang. Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. And we'll proceed. And the motion is carried and is unanimous. Thank you, everyone. And we'll move on to item C, the consent agenda, item C10. Excuse me, we need to go back and step back to item B9, and that is the election at large for the executive committee. Per our board rules, we have 2 slots available on the executive committee for at large from the membership of the board. And so I will take, and you can use the request to speak, and you will be recognized, Supervisor Mask.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to nominate Al Drabeck for Executive Committee. I've been on Solid Waste Board with him for some time, and I think he is very insightful and knowledgeable, and I think he'll be a really good fit on the Exec Committee.
a second on that first, right? Yeah. So I'm looking for a second on Supervisor second, or Supervisor Server, was that a second? That was a second. Thank you. Okay, Supervisor Jacobson was next.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to nominate Supervisor Erstad for one of the at-large positions.
Is there a second? Supervisor Cavalli with the second. Supervisor Langenhan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to nominate Supervisor Seefeld.
Is there a second to Supervisor Seefeld's nomination? Supervisor Rosenberg with the second. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Supervisor Kroll?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to nominate Ann Lemmer from District 2 for the, as the at-large. So thank you.
Is there a second for Supervisor Lemmer? Supervisor Marash with the second. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Okay, I will declare the nominations are closed, and I will have the Corp Counsel explain the voting procedure.
Sure. So the clerk is going to be providing you your ballot papers, the very formal blank sheets of paper. You will write down your two choices for the two at-large slots. So you're picking two names. You'll put both of those names on one ballot, and those ballots will be collected. Please fold them twice because this is a secret ballot. The clerk will tally those ballots after they're collected. Anyone needs a majority of the votes to be elected. So after the first round of voting, if we have two individuals who have a majority, those will be the two at-large members. If we have one person, that person will be elected, and we'll do another round of voting until we have two people who are selected by a majority. So you're voting for two people on your single sheet of paper.
Can you name the nominees again, please?
Absolutely. Your four nominees are Supervisor Drabeck, Supervisor Arstead, Supervisor Seefeld, and Supervisor Lemmer.
If anyone has hidden talents that they want to sing or dance, we'll entertain that now at this point.
Yeah, really, night and day. Yeah, fantastic.
Groundwater problems and all that kind of stuff in the phosphorus and all that.
Really, really lucky to have her. Doing a great job. I don't think she quite knows how to take me yet. Oh no, Pam did a fantastic job. Changed like the rotation, how people coming through there. It's kind of the dry run for the presidential race, and it worked.
Right to it, and then they're gonna give the county for how much they do.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, I guess no, it's great.
That's the county line.
No, she's great.
The county has.
We got a really good race now. Really great.
Pretty ethical side.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all 29. They're the big ones. They're running towards these stuff. Drive in and after he days, they able to.
They are already.
It is? Okay. Okay, if I could have your attention, please. Attention, please, please. The election results are Supervisor Drabeck with 27 votes, Supervisor Arstead with 16, Supervisor Seefelt with 14, Supervisor Lemmer with 17. And so one person has been elected, and we will have a second round of ballots, and they will be, the choices are Supervisor Arstead, Supervisor Seefelt, and Supervisor Lemmer.
And just to be clear, in this second round, you're voting for one person, one name on your ballot. So please don't write two down. Thank you.
What's that?
Got yours?
What they decided to do, but they're in a plastic bag. You can't be in a plastic bag for $180 something. Like McDonald's. Over there. All of a sudden, there's two guys that from New Jersey. One didn't know why. So he said they sat down and came out to all this stuff. Your answer was, and we can't, because we can't. So they said, eliminate it. Yeah. Look at that and look at the bill. Look at the bill.
You got 30 seconds? All right. Please, your attention, please. No one has a majority, so we will have a second ballot now, and the same three people will remain on the ballot. We had Supervisor Arstead with 16, Supervisor Seefeld with 9, Supervisor Lemmer with 12. And again, per Roberts, you continue to vote until we have a majority. Again, there has to be a majority. That requires 19 ballots or 19 votes to be elected. So we will have a second. And I would, at this point, if I would offer up to the three candidates, if they wanted to have a brief conversation or at least a speech to the board, I would invite Supervisor Arstead first.
Well, I'm not quite ready for this. I have really enjoyed getting involved with the county board and working with HHS and broadband and also Board of Health. I have felt that I have contributed well to all of my committees, and it's been an awesome experience. I would love to be on the executive board, as I really enjoy knowing more of what's coming down the pike. A lot of times I'll spend hours sitting watching videos of all the different committees, just so I know what's going on. And I feel like I can really contribute to the executive board with working hard and following through with what I like to do as far as understanding what's going on with the county board in all aspects.
Okay, next we have Supervisor Lemmer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hello for all of you newbies. Thanks for taking the opportunity to run for office. I took this opportunity. This will be my second term. And although it was not ever in my imagination that I would run for office, I proudly serve and take this job very seriously. Many of the things that I do are not related to committee work that I'm on. I do serve on the Human Resources, Finance and Property Committee, but have dug deep into things like housing, like energy, like childcare, like manure digesters. That is a really fun one to dig deep into. It's a passion of mine. I'm a former teacher and enjoy the research and the questioning. I have gone to my state representatives. I've met with people at DHS. I have met with many people in the community because I don't know all the answers, and I try to listen very carefully before making a decision. And sometimes I've been swayed in my decision making. So it would make me very happy to be selected as a member at large on the executive committee.
Supervisor Seifelt, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is my fifth term on the county board. I was chair last year of EEED committee and on the executive committee. Been on ERC for 4 terms, Park Commission for 4 terms, and was last year president of the Park Commission. On Forestry Committee for 4 terms and was chair of the Forestry Committee, and also I'm on the State Forestry Board for the upper 30 counties of the state of Wisconsin. I am also involved with the Marathon County Ag Society, which is the fair board. I've been on there for 18 years. I enjoy working with the county, and I would work with everyone that is on the board if I was elected for executive committee, and would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Sorry, Stacy. Oh, okay.
Tell me beforehand. I didn't bring any snacks. This could get bad about an hour.
Well, we will have a third ballot. No one received a majority of the board's votes. And I will just enlighten everybody. We got a ways to go to top the record. I can tell you, at least my term on the county board, a county voted 16 times before they actually, but that was electing their chair. But in this case, we will have another ballot because the votes were 18 Arstead, 10 Lemmer, and 9 Seefeld.
One more set. That's our favorite thing to do.
That's number
Anybody else? This jacket's on the floor. Don't want to. It's getting rolled on.
You gotta, there's a window. I don't know. We went with the contract. But you know, who would, you know, our county clerk, Dave called.
I mean, what fun is that? Go wait till
But I think where they're at.
yeah, just wait till it comes here. I'm one of those people, I'm like, I'm hungry. That means you got about 20 minutes before I pick up the person.
You can break that.
Yeah.
How they
No, it runs the blood.
break the contract and you get on top of that.
No, I work on it. So I'm always used to every chance I get to shovel.
I don't know if you
Oh, it's really a blessing. Right? It was replace the floor, and it went to cut the entire window, floor ceiling, tile, shower, size, the whole thing. We put the entire bathroom. I went through
All right. We, congratulations, Supervisor Arstead. You are elected to the Executive Committee, and I want to thank the other two candidates, and we will move on to the consent agenda. Now we will take up the consent agenda, item C10 through items C14A. What is your pleasure? Oh, it takes a minute for the software to load. Don't tell me that. Okay, Supervisor Drabeck with the motion, Supervisor Langenhan with the second. Any discussion on the on the consent agenda items C10 through items C14A? Okay, we will proceed to vote. And we'll proceed. And the motion is carried and is unanimous. Thank you. We will move on to resolutions from Human Resources, Finance, and Property Committee. Item D15, consideration of whether to allocate an additional $20,000 of opioid litigation settlement funds for the purpose of completing the gap analysis of the continuum of care for treatment and recovery in Marathon County, as called for in Resolution R-1-24. This is Resolution 18-24. And I'd ask the administrator to at least highlight the email that he had responded to the questions that were asked last Thursday.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I won't go through the email in detail, but just to lay a bit more context, again, the process that we use for securing these sort of consultant services is what we refer to as an RFP, or request for proposal process. So we set forth the specifications we're looking for in a particular project, or in this case, a study. We then put it out to the public to allow private entities or organizations, whether they be for-profit or nonprofit, governmental or what have you, to respond. And I thank Supervisor Marshall for supplementing my email. I understand she linked to the proposal and the supplement with the questions. That is very frequently the case, that we put out an RFP and we have proposers that then offer questions. To be fair to everyone, we post the answers to those questions all at the same time on the website. So one of the questions before kind of alluded to the fact of, hey, how much, did the proposers that were answering this RFP know what our budget was? A number of them asked, and sometimes we do put right in the RFP how much money has been set aside. In this instance, we did not. And our answer to the question that was posed was that we were seeking the lowest competitive bid response for the project itself. So if you didn't see my email, the specific question was, did any of the proposals meet all the criteria in the request for proposals for the $50,000 threshold that was originally allocated in the resolution referenced by the chair? The answer that I received based on my conversation with the individuals that did the review was no, that the only proposal that met all the criteria was the proposal for $70,000. The primary deficit, to summarize my email, the primary deficit of those other proposals lower than that $70,000 threshold was in the area of data collection from local stakeholders, focus groups, and data analysis. And the second question was if the board were to postpone action to allow this item to go back to the Public Safety and Health and Human Services Committee. Would that create an issue with respect to ultimately accepting the $70,000 proposal? The short answer is no. This proposal did not have a date that said you need to accept it within a specified time limit. It would, of course, delay the work to be done if you pushed it out another month, which is a judgment for you whether or not that's some important data you want for your budget building discussions that will happen over the next several months. And just again, for context, from this settlement alone, you're projected, should all of the settlement funds actually make their way to the county, slightly in excess of $2 million is the total amount of the settlement.
Okay, we have a motion by Supervisor Robinson and a second by Supervisor Zhang. Is there any additional discussion? Supervisor Marshall, please.
Thank you. I had a question on, it was once requested that it go back to the Public Safety Committee because it did not go through those channels the second time around. And so I guess I would propose that it be pulled to be further assessed by Public Safety.
So is that a motion to commit to the Public Safety Committee or all? I just want to be clear. It was, the original was taken up by multiple committees, Health and Human Services, Public Safety, and HR Finance. Is this a motion to commit back to all three committees?
I believe it passed HR Finance, so it would just be the other two committees that was missed in the second round.
Okay. So your motion is to commit back to Health and Human Services and Public Safety. Okay, is there a second? Seconded by Supervisor Sandalski. Any discussion? Any discussion? Supervisor Marash, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to clarify last week, Tuesday, when I brought it up about not having gone back through public safety, that it was just a procedural question because I was just a little confused as to why it didn't. As for me, I feel that it would be fine to continue with voting on it today, but I just wanted to put that out there. I also did speak with a member of the CJCC, and I trust her professional opinion on this and feel that if they believe they need help and what they're doing isn't working, then we should listen to them because they're the professionals, and it doesn't pay to try to tweak programs or make up new ones if it's not what we need. So I would prefer to vote on it today. Thank you.
Okay, Supervisor Robinson next, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't have strong objections to sending it back to committee, but one of the disadvantages of sending it back is that the timing of the delivery of the end product. And what we're trying to do is within a 90-day period of time, get somebody to come in and evaluate the gaps and the needs and develop recommendations relative to the 2025 county budget. And when you start delaying that, you delay the potential for taking the recommendations and identifying those gaps and working through those gaps, whether it be a housing gap or service gap and others, and building those into the budgets for North Central Healthcare. I think the reason it came to HR Finance was because we were over budget, not because it was a policy discussion that should we do this. We had made the decision that this was a worthwhile study and that there were needs and gaps that we didn't fully understand. And when you look at the review committee of Laura Yari, Ruth Hetzel, and Laura Scuderi, you had the DA's office, the Justice Alternatives Office, and the Health Department all involved in making the determination that the best proposal was one that was over budget. So I'm comfortable with advancing it now. Ultimately, that gap analysis is coming back here. Having it 30 days earlier will help us relative to preparation of trying to implement those or implementing the recommendations potentially in the 2025 budget.
Supervisor Boots, please.
Yeah, and I had discussed this last week also, and in light of Supervisor Marash, concerns being met, she was on the Public Safety Board, and that was my concern. If somebody from Public Safety wanted to see it come back, I wanted to make sure they had that opportunity. So in light of her saying that her questions have been answered, I think we should just move on with the vote.
Okay, Supervisor Hardinger, please.
Mr. Administrator, you said there was roughly $2 million that's going to be coming back on top of this?
So the settlement that we're talking about, the settlement funds that are going to be ultimately allocated that could be informed by this gap analysis. Right now, the projection is, I want to say it's 2.1 million. Now, of course, those are settlements that if any of those entities did declare bankruptcy and ultimately were insolvent and couldn't make their payments as previously agreed to, that would be an issue. But I don't know, Corp Counsel, if there's anything else you want to add. But yes, the projection, which was in the packet that I referenced in my email, I can pull it up here and just make sure I'm giving you the right total number.
No, thank you. So
2.154.
pushing this out, what kind of impact would that have?
Well, it just is, as was alluded to, it's just, does it impact you in your discussions at your standing committees with respect to how you might want to allocate those funds? You have not, the county has not allocated any of the opioid settlement funds that you've received to this point, and you've received about $700,000 to this point. You haven't allocated any. This was the first step in doing that. The original direction from the board was have, as Supervisor Marash referenced, the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council come up with a strategy and some recommendations for the board to consider. They did that process over a series of months. And ultimately, the first recommendation they had was to get this gaps, kind of this assessment and gaps analysis completed, which would then inform the latter allocation of those funds.
Okay, so it would help us come to budget time, so we have that information a little sooner to where those funds should probably go.
If the board wanted to allocate those funds to go to any of those things, absolutely, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Okay, we have a motion on the floor to commit back to two standing committees. If that is your desire, vote yes. If you wish to instead move forward with the resolution as written and to allocate the potential of additional $20,000, you would vote no and move forward with the vote. Is everybody clear what you're voting on? You're voting on a motion to commit and refer back to the committee. Everybody clear? We'll proceed to vote. And we'll proceed. And the motion is defeated. We're back to the motion to approve the additional $20,000 for the settlement of the settlement funds for the gap analysis. Any further discussion? This is a budget amendment, and this does require a 2/3 majority vote. Is there any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. And we'll proceed. And the motion is carried, but is not unanimous. I thank you. We will move on to item E, Human Resources, Finance and Property Committee and Public Safety Committee. Item E16, a resolution directing staff to proceed with an offer to purchase for the Regional Forensic Science Center property. Resolution 19-24. Motion by Supervisor Zhang and second by Supervisor Mask. Any discussion? Okay. Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. And we'll proceed. And the motion is carried and is unanimous. Thank you. We will move on to item E17, a resolution to create 1.0 FTE forensic pathologist position, Resolution 20-24. Motion by Supervisor Mask and second by Supervisor Marash. Any discussion? And we'll proceed. And we'll proceed. And the motion is carried and is unanimous. Thank you. We are down to item number E, miscellaneous business, announcements and/or requests. HHS, Health and Human Services, Infrastructure, EEEDC agendas, and items are all due tomorrow to the clerk for readying of the packet and information. Also, any other announcements and/or requests? Supervisor Radke, please.
I was just going to let everybody know that Sunday is April 28th. It's Workers' Memorial Day. And we always remember those workers who have been killed. On River Drive, we have a Workers' Memorial there, and it's at 5 p.m. We'll have a ceremony there. Remember all the workers that were killed in Marathon County. We'll list off the names. We have names from 1944 till present. So if you don't have anything going on Sunday at 5, you can join us down. It's down by the old VFW down there on River Drive.
Okay, the other thing that we have, another announcement, tomorrow is Western Towns, Thursday evening at 6:30. And it's at the Town of Cleveland Town Hall. And again, all supervisors are invited. And any other announcements or requests? Then we are down to the infamous item number 19. Motion by Supervisor Covelli and second by Supervisor Langenhan to adjourn. Any discussion? All those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and have a great rest of your week.
And how's it 2%? I don't know about that house association.